Hi guys, I'm live. Something told me to go live and just talk to you guys. Um, I just wanted to share some musical insights and progress and updates, and maybe you guys are interested. If you are, please watch and listen, and I'd love to have you watch this. So, anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. How you guys doing? Um, I want to say something. I meditate really deeply to music. It's not just I don't just listen with my ears and let it go in one ear and out the other, so to speak. And I don't just use it to dance only or to only do this or that. I really meditate to the music. And just a couple nights ago, I really got my head around Jimi Hendrix. I mean, it was tough. I mean, meditation is actually a thing. And it was very hard to get my head around him because he's even deeper and maybe greater even than Eddie Van Halen. And getting your head around Eddie Van Halen is one thing, but then try to get your head around Jimi Hendrix after that. It's actually very difficult, and it takes work and concentration. It's very hard, but I pulled it off and actually did it. So at least to some degree, I have my head around Jimi Hendrix, and so that's cool. And then I want to talk about scale theory for a second, just really quickly, and then I also want to talk about how I use scale theory in my improvisations and my solos, and how I think of it, scales to jam. Because first of all, let me just comment. When I play scales all over the neck, it looks to the listener, of the viewer perhaps, and even looks to me, if I could think of it, if I want to make it look that way, that I'm just going up and down the neck and God knows what I'm playing. But every single time I go from position to position or from string to string, I know the pattern. I know the pattern on all the individual strings. So if I want to go up and down a single string, I know all the patterns on all the 6 strings for whatever mode and key I'm in. If I'm thinking positionally and going across the strings, but moving positions, I know exactly what position shape I'm in, and what the shape is to go across the strings in that particular position, anywhere on the neck, in whatever mode or key I'm in. It looks like I am having fun, and I am enjoying it, but it's not. It may look more effortless than it really is. It's not even just a physical thing of having to be able to play fast or play clean or well, but it's also knowing your theory and your guitar, the notes on the guitar, not just the name of the notes, but how they relate to the mode and scale and key you're in, and also the theory, so you know why those are the right notes or not the right notes. You can't, it's more than just cookie cutter. Just show me the pattern and I just play that. You have to know, I have to take it further and know what all the notes are in relation to the tonic and why those are the right notes. And if I do even want to play those right notes, or if I want to play other right notes, or if I even want to play wrong notes. The great Billy Sheehan, bassist for David Lee Roth, said you have to know the rules to break them. So sometimes you know the rules to break them. There's even that, but you can't really break the rules if you don't really know them. You have to know them to break them. You have to learn something to be able to forget it. Charlie Parker said to learn theory, then forget it, and then just play. But the very first step in that is learn theory. You can't do anything of that process until you actually learn theory. Then it's your job to forget it, and then it's your job to just play. But you can't. Jaco Pastorius, the second best bass player of all time in my book, Jeff Berlin is number 1, but that's just my opinion, said the only shortcut is the long way. The only shortcut is to do everything the long way, the hard way, and then when you're really done with that, you really have done it. And that's the shortcut. The long way, in some ways, is to try to cut corners and try to skip things, because then you just have to go back and do it later, and that actually takes you longer, and it's actually harder and is more time consuming than it is if you just do the hard stuff first and do the long way first. That's actually the only shortcut is the long way, like Jaco said, and he was a great bassist, so I think his opinion carries some weight. So anyway, on to scale theory for a second. First, let me just mention something about my insights about scale today and recently. Someone said very wisely that the hardest scale is the C major scale. The hardest scale in music is the C major scale. So first of all, there's at least a couple of reasons for that. But first of all, the 7-note scales are the most intricate and difficult scales of tonal music. And it can even be said that tonal music is even more complex than atonal music, because when the rules break down and you go into atonality, it's actually easier in some ways because there's no rules to follow. And the rules that you do follow are very basic and not that hard. So even though the music is very dissonant, so really, and in simpler music than the major scale, such as blues, as this pentatonics, those are simpler scales that are tonal. So that's not as hard as major scale. But the regular major scale is perhaps the hardest scale in music. And why they say C? Well, first of all, to emphasize that it's not because of black notes that the complexity is. Even playing all the white notes right can be the hardest thing, even though it looks easy from sight, from a distance. And not only that, there's some peculiarities about the way fingering is on the piano that make playing in C one of the harder keys, believe it or not, even though all the keys are white. I don't know exactly why, because I'm not a piano player, but I had a couple, just simple lessons when I was a kid on piano, but not as a player. Just someone sat me down and she said, Gymmie, if you want, you may have music blocks, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you middle C. This is middle C, ding, now play. So, and that breakthrough didn't really hit me at the time either. I put it in my brain, but I thought, what is that supposed to mean? What good is that going to do? But then about a week or two ago, I realized, oh yeah, I know where middle C is on the guitar. Why don't I just start there and play? It's a tool to just loosen you up and get you to let go and just free your mind, and then you just start playing. Next thing you know, you're playing. Why not start? But you start somewhere with the middle C. So why not? So that lesson actually helped me. We had an old. We not because anybody was musical in my house, because nobody was, but we had a piano in one of our rooms. It was like a cool big piano, and one of I think just some friend of somebody. It might have been one of my friends. It might have been one of my dad's friend's daughters or something. I don't know, but she just came over and was sticking around on the piano and showed me that little trick, and so Anyway, that's still not talking about how I improvise with theory and how I think of scales when I improvise. So let's get to that. Ready? Here we go. Thanks for listening, guys. Okay, I mainly think of the pure major scale as the basis of just the fundamental scale in 7-note music, and that's just the major scale. Even though there's modes of that and alterations of that and alterations of the modes. And I really do think of the minor pentatonic scale, which interestingly can be phrased just by putting your finger across one fret on the guitar on all 6 strings. You're automatically playing all 5 notes of a pentatonic scale, which is interesting. That's why the first lead box they show you, the bottom of each of the the bottom note of each of the 2 notes on each string is just a straight bar across the fretboard. So that shows you that even strumming all the open strings is an E minor pentatonic scale. Strumming all those strings with your finger fretted across the first fret is an F minor pentatonic scale, and so forth. So I really do think of the minor pentatonic scale as the basis of pentatonic or 5-note playing. I think it's interesting that there's 2 dichotomies. There's the fact that the major scale is diatonic and then the minor pentatonic is pentatonic. There's also the funny, cute little thing that in diatonic we use the major scale, and in pentatonic we usually use the minor scale. So I think that's cool symmetry and duality. Duality is important concept in nature and science. So anyway, a lot of things are dual, male, female. Good, bad, right, wrong. Up, down. A lot of things are without 2 we would really be screwed up. But anyway, okay. Having said that. Now, so I do a lot of my major scale, my diatonic work based on Dorian mode. It's the most symmetric. It's the only mode that is it's a musical palindrome, because the intervals of D Dorian going up are the same as the intervals of D Dorian going down. It's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step going up. It's also whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step going down. And it's the mode that is in the center of the string of circle of fifths that make up a major scale. You have 7 straight notes on the circle of fifths to make up a major scale, and interestingly, the other 5 notes that make up another string of 5 consecutive notes on the circle of fifths that aren't in the major scale form a minor pentatonic scale. So you can really say with all certainty that the white keys are a C major scale, and the black keys are a D sharp minor pentatonic or E flat minor pentatonic scale. Either way, one has 7 notes, 7 straight consecutive notes on the circle of fifths, and one has 5 notes, 5 straight notes on the consecutive notes on the circle of fifths. So there's a lot of symmetry and duality there too. But I usually use the major scale in the context of Dorian mode. That's also interesting because the guy that stabbed me in the back in Santa Monica in 1995 that missed my spine by 3/8 of an inch, his name was Dorian. He was a black guy, but that doesn't matter. But he was named Dorian. That was his name. Anyway, any symbolism there? I'm not sure. I met him a couple years later and just walked right by him. I said, "Hey, you got stabbed me?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Did I do anything to you?" He goes, "No." I go, "Well, see ya." I just walked on by. I didn't cause any trouble or anything. But anyway, that's another story. So I based it on Dorian, and let's say pick a key. If I'm in D Dorian, D as in dog. Now let's not do that because that's C major. It sounds like I'm doing that on purpose. Let's say F sharp Dorian. Okay, here's how I kind of look at it. If I'm in F sharp Dorian, first off the bat, I can skip 2 of the notes and just play an F sharp minor pentatonic, because you can play an F sharp Dorian has all the notes of a F sharp minor pentatonic scale in it. In fact, it has all the notes of a G sharp minor pentatonic scale in it, and it has all the notes of a C sharp minor pentatonic scale in it. That's because there are 3 minor pentatonic scales in any one major scale contained in it. So there's that. So if I'm on F sharp minor pentatonic, I can play. I mean, F sharp. If I'm on F sharp Dorian, that's what I said I was. Sorry for the slip there. I can play F sharp minor pentatonic. I can play G sharp minor pentatonic, and I can play C sharp minor pentatonic. And there's some cool tapping things you can do with that fact. Steve Vai introduced those to me from his Big Trouble solo from the Eat 'Em and Smile album with David Lee Roth. Cool things you can do. I can't know if I can tell you because it's hard to explain without showing you, and it might just sound like what the heck is he talking about? But there's some cool patterns there you can do with tapping, which Steve introduced me to. It's not firsthand. I have met Steve, not personally, but I went to one of his concerts, and he shook hands with everybody around me except me, and then to make a point, and then just that's how I met. That's what I know of Steve Vai. Anyway, so because I was in the front. Almost the front row, but close to it. So anyway, okay. So if I'm in F sharp Dorian, let's say that's what I'm doing. Now, if I go up a fourth to B, I'm going to be 1 sharp of Dorian, so I'm going to be in B mixolydian. So I have to play the B mixolydian pattern if I go up to the 7th fret position, which is where the E note, the E strings are B. If I go up to the 9th position, I'm going to be in C sharp Aeolian, because going up a 5th from F sharp makes a flat, and Aeolian is 1 flat of Dorian. So if I go up to the 9th position, I'm going to play C sharp Aeolian. If I go up to the 7th position, I'm going to play B mixolydian. If I'm back to the 2nd position, or 12 frets higher, the 14th position, that's also, both of those are F sharp Dorian pattern. Having said that, you have to know all the patterns of all the 7 modes, 3 notes at a string, with 3 notes on a string by heart, so that you know if you're an F sharp Dorian, go up to the 7th fret, you're going to play B mixolydian, but you have to know the mixolydian pattern. And if you go up to C sharp, the 9th position, you have to play C sharp Aeolian, but to do that, you have to know the Aeolian pattern, or the Aeolian position, the Aeolian position during this string. And there's that. One more thing, if I go back to F sharp, the idea again. If I play F sharp minor pentatonic, what's funny about that? First of all, you can play. Well, I already said that all the notes fretted on the 2nd fret of a guitar just open, just straight across on the 2nd fret would make an F sharp minor pentatonic scale. But what's interesting too, if you go up to the B position, which is the 7th fret, you're going to play one flat of the pattern on the F sharp minor pentatonic of the 2nd fret. And then if you go up to if you go up 7 frets, which is up to the 9th position, you're going to play one of the notes sharp, which is the opposite as it is for Dorian, which is a diatonic scale. So basically, all I'm saying is, if you play F sharp minor pentatonic on the 2nd position, the lowest notes of each 2 string per pattern in the strings per string, 2 notes per string pattern in this case, are all just bar across the 2nd fret. But if we go up to the 7th position, I'm going to play in the B position. One of those notes is going to be flattened, as I'm up a a fourth, and B is up a fourth from F sharp. If I go up to C sharp, the ninth fret position, not ninth position, I'm going to play one note sharp of the straight across F sharp of the second position F sharp minor pentatonic. So all I'm saying, F sharp minor pentatonic, you play on the second position or the 14th position. If you go to the 7th position, you play one note flat in that pentatonic pattern. If you go to the 9th position, you play one note sharp from the straight across the string pattern. And then that's what I use if I'm playing pentatonics. I go between the position that's on that's the lowest position. I don't know how to say this. I go between being on the, if I'm playing an F sharp, I go between the second position and the 7th position and the 9th position and then the 14th position a lot. I go in between. I go up a fourth or up a fifth or down a fourth or down a fifth from the home position a lot, because that's the middle ground. It's a pattern on the neck that's exactly in between the main position, and that's where that's the gray area where I think a lot of players get lost, because it's the furthest away from your home pattern, and yet it's important. You want to be able to go up and down the neck anywhere you want. You don't want to say, well, I can't go there because I don't know the patterns. You have to go there anyway. And I went there because it's the hardest thing. I went there just on habit, and I got really used to it. And now I love to go in the middle position. That, in other words, if I'm in F sharp, I'm playing along the 7th position and 9th position, not just the 2nd position and the 14th position, an octave up, an octave higher than the 2nd position. So there you have it. So I love you guys. Peace, rock and roll. Have a great rest of your day. Love you guys.